For some unknown reason, I always happened to trust Elliot. I trusted him and was almost made to believe that Mr. Robot is a bad guy and that Elliot is being victimized, only to later find out that the immoral Mr. Robot and the helpless Elliot are one and the same person. I trusted Elliot even when he had us believe that he was away staying with his mom and was leading a clean, mundane life, and again to later find out that the whole time he was in prison. I even trusted him when he told us that the day his mom found out about his dad's disease, his dad pushed him out a window, which eventually led him to be hospitalized. To be honest, I didn't have a speck of doubt about him being pushed out a window. I blindly believed it until last week's episode. I was completely hooked onto last week's episode. I kind of felt good when Elliot was recollecting a happy moment from his otherwise unhappy childhood. And then he continued to mention the window incident to Krista. I didn't suspect anything until I realized she didn't know anything about the whole incident. She had literally no idea about it. That caught me by surprise. I asked myself one question. Why will someone who's seeking therapy hide something so crucial of one's childhood from their therapist in the first place? I mean, isn't the therapist who is counseling you supposed to know that? The only probable reason why I can think of someone hiding something so crucial is that the whole incident isn't exactly what it looks like. I know that the window experience is still a huge source of psychological trauma for Elliot, but I also believe that there's a whole different layer or perspective to it that we still don't know about. Here are three suppositions of what actually might have happened that day. It's entirely possible that Elliot jumped out the window himself when he was a kid. From season 1 episode 9, if you remember when he's talking to Mr. Robot at the house.
Calm down! You pushed me out this window.
Elliot.
So you pushed me off the boardwalk.
Hey, come on.
No, maybe you're the one who needs some pushing now.
Calm down. It was an accident.
Bullshit!
I was 8 years old.
You thought I deserved it. That's what you said, isn't it?
No,
yeah, right before you pushed me again.
No, Elliot, you thought you deserved it. You felt guilty about this your whole life, about telling people my secret.
When Angela and Darlene come by the house later, Angela doesn't seem to realize the implication of the broken window. But Darlene gets a look on her face that indicates that she might. Angela hasn't really weighed in on the topic and Darlene mentioned it briefly. So it's probable Elliot jumped off the window to commit suicide because he couldn't forgive himself for telling his dad's secret to his mom. I'm starting to have a hard time believing that Elliot's dad did it. It just doesn't quite add up. Since Elliot has DID, it's my understanding that dissociative symptoms develop between the ages 5 and 10, with alternate personalities present at age 6. So Elliot may have already been quite ill at that time. There's a possibility that at that time too, he used to hallucinate and probably he hallucinated him being pushed out the window. What if Mr. Robot pushed him out the window and he thought it was his real dad? Hence, if he believes that his dad pushed him out, in reality, he pushed himself out. And perhaps the foreshadowing of this was when Elliot and Mr. Robot were on the pyre. When we first saw it, it showed Mr. Robot pushing him, but in reality, Elliot jumped himself. So though this theory seems less probable, it's quite possible. What if it wasn't Elliot who fell out the window after all? In fact, what if Elliot was the one who pushed someone else out the window? We clearly know that Elliot's mom was quite abusive, and on that day when Elliot probably disclosed his dad's sickness to his mom, she was arguing and fighting with his dad the entire time. What if with all that rage that was already inside him, he just pushes her out the window? We know that he hated her for real. If not his mom, who knows, he might have pushed his dad for reasons unknown. Though we don't have any evidence yet, it's quite possible that the whole window incident was a turned around story, and by now we must know that Elliot is delusional and an unreliable narrator. Again, these were just theories and there are no hardbound facts yet that can prove any of it true. Even towards the end of last week's episode, when Elliot asked Darlene if she remembers the day they made the snowman, she has this tensed look on her face as if she remembers exactly what happened that day. And when she asks Elliot if he wants to talk about it, he just cuts her off. There's definitely something to it we aren't aware yet. Anyways, thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.